so wide. Outside, Clint was already working. He moved steady and calm, giving orders without shouting. The ranch hands listened because they respected him, not because they feared him. Riley stood in the doorway for a long moment, watching. She had seen men lead before, usually with fists. Clint led with quiet strength. Tom noticed her first. His eyes narrowed slightly, still unsure about her. Jesse gave her a quick nod, curious more than anything. Clint turned when he sensed her. "Morning." She stiffened, ready for some hidden demand. "What morning?" she answered cautiously. "You know how to saddle." Her chin lifted. "I was riding before I could walk." "Good. We're checking the north fence line." He said it like it was normal, like she had always belonged there. Riley hesitated only a second before stepping fully into the yard. Tom watched closely as she approached the tack room. She felt his doubt. It scraped at her pride. She grabbed a saddle without asking and moved toward a restless chestnut mare. The horse tossed its head and stomped, testing her. Riley met its gaze. Calm. Firm. She ran a steady hand along its neck and spoke low under her breath. Within moments, the mare settled. Tom's brows lifted. Clint said nothing, but his eyes held quiet approval. They rode out under a bright blue sky. The land rolled wide and endless, grass bent under the breeze. Far in the distance, red cliffs stood like silent guards. For the first time in years, Riley rode without looking over her shoulder every few seconds. Still, she kept one hand near her thigh out of habit, as if a knife might appear if she needed it. They reached a stretch of broken fence near noon. A few posts had fallen. Wire sagged low. Clint dismounted and handed her a coil of fencing wire. "You can handle that?" She gave him a look that said she was insulted. He almost smiled. They worked side by side, no talking, just the sound of hammer strikes and wind through grass. Riley worked hard, harder than she needed to. Sweat ran down her temples. Her hands stung with every pull of the wire. But she did not slow down. She needed to prove something. Not to Clint. To herself. At one point, her injured wrist gave out, and she dropped the wire with a sharp hiss of pain. Clint noticed immediately. "Let me see." "I'm fine." "You're bleeding." She glanced down. The cloth wrapping had darkened. "I said I'm fine." He didn't argue, didn't grab her. He simply held out a clean bandage from his saddlebag. "Wrap it tighter." That was it. No pity. No orders. Just help. Something warm and confusing stirred in her chest. They finished the fence before riding back. On the way, a small group of wild horses ran across the open field. Free, fast, untouchable. Riley watched them with open longing. "You miss that?" Clint asked quietly. She swallowed. "I miss not being hunted." His jaw tightened slightly. "Nobody's hunting you here." She looked at him carefully. "You can't promise that." He met her gaze. "Well, I can promise I won't let anyone try." Her breath caught. She looked away first. Back at the ranch, Jesse approached with a grin. "You ride like you were born in the saddle." "I was," Riley answered flatly. Tom stepped forward. "We got a stubborn colt in the South Corral. Been kicking at everyone. Think you're up for it?" There was challenge in his voice. Riley didn't hesitate. "Show me." The colt was young and strong, eyes wild with fear. It had likely never been handled properly. Men had tried to break it with force. That much was clear. Riley entered the corral slowly. No rope in hand. No whip. She stood still at first, letting the colt circle her. Letting it see she was not chasing. Not trapping. The ranch hands watched closely. After long minutes, she began moving carefully, but guiding the animal with quiet presence instead of pressure. Her voice stayed low and steady. Step by step, the colt's frantic movement slowed. Its ears flicked forward instead of back. When she finally placed a hand on its neck, the yard fell silent. Tom let out a slow breath. I'll be damned. Clint's chest swelled with something close to pride. Riley stepped out of the corral, brushing dirt from her hands. You don't beat fear out of something, she said quietly. You give it space. Clint studied her. He knew she wasn't talking only about horses. That night, exhaustion hit her hard. But sleep did not come easy. The ranch was too quiet. No echoes, no distant shouts, no metal clanking against stone. Her mind filled the silence with old sounds. She woke gasping, sweat soaking her shirt. The dream felt real. Hands grabbing, chains tightening, darkness closing in. She stumbled out of the room and into the yard, desperate for air. The moon hung high above the barn. Silver light washed over the land. She pressed her palms against the fence rail and forced herself to breathe. You all right? Clint's voice came from the shadows. She flinched hard. I didn't mean to startle you, he said gently. He had been sitting on the porch, unable to sleep himself. I'm fine, she snapped automatically. He didn't believe it, but he didn't call her out. After a long silence, she spoke again, voice softer. It don't leave. What doesn't? The feeling. She swallowed. Like I'm still there. He stepped closer, but kept space between them. You're not. She shook her head. You don't understand. Maybe not exactly, he said. But I understand losing peace. She glanced at him. He bashed him. He rarely spoke of his past. My family died when I was younger, he continued quietly. Fever. Took them fast. House felt empty after that. I kept hearing their voices long after they were gone. Riley stared at him, surprised. I couldn't stop it, he said. Time didn't fix it. Work didn't fix it. What did? She asked. Letting it hurt. She frowned. That don't make sense. It doesn't have to. They stood under the moonlight, both carrying different ghosts. Riley wrapped her arms around herself. If I stay, she said slowly, I won't always be easy. I don't expect easy. I get angry. I've noticed. I don't trust quick. You shouldn't. She studied him carefully. He wasn't mocking her. He wasn't trying to shape her into something softer. You're not scared of me? She asked. No. Why? Because you don't hurt without reason. That struck her deep. No one had ever said that about her. Silence settled between them again. Not heavy, not sharp, just quiet. Finally, she exhaled slowly. I ain't running. He nodded once. All right. But peace never stays long in the West. 2 days later, trouble rode in from the east. Dust rose on the horizon just before sunset. 3 riders, moving with purpose. Riley saw them first from the barn loft. Her stomach dropped. She knew one of those silhouettes. Lyle Hargrove. He rode straight into the yard without asking permission. His smile was the same cruel one from Red Valley. Well now, he drawled. Heard you bought yourself a wildcat, Rollins. Thought I'd come see if she scratched your eyes out yet. Riley went cold. Every muscle locked tight. Clint stepped forward calmly. What do you want, Hargrove? Hargrove's gaze slid to Riley. That girl ran off from land that borders mine. Caused trouble. Stole supplies. I figure I'm owed something. You ain't owed anything, Clint said evenly. Hargrove dismounted slowly, boots hitting dirt with heavy intent. Maybe I want to take her back. Finish what I started bidding on. The yard went silent. Riley's breath came fast. Her body remembered fear even if her spirit refused to bow. The Clint moved just slightly, positioning himself between Hargrove and Riley. "She's not going anywhere," Clint said. Hargrove laughed. "You think $100 makes her yours?" "No," Clint answered. "It means she chose to be here." Riley's heart slammed hard at that word. Chose. Hargrove's eyes darkened. "You planning to fight me over a feral girl?" Clint's voice stayed calm. "I don't plan to fight, but I will." The air thickened. Riley felt something shift inside her. For the first time in her life, someone was not stepping aside, not selling her off, not trading her, standing for her. Hargrove stared at Clint for a long moment. Then he looked at Riley. "You'll run eventually," he sneered. "Wild things always do." Riley straightened her spine. "Not from you." Hargrove mounted his horse with a sharp jerk. This ain't over." He and his men rode off in a cloud of dust. Silence held the yard long after they disappeared. Riley's knees felt weak, but she refused to show it. Clint turned to her. "You all right?" She looked at him. Really looked at him. "You didn't have to do that," she said. "Yes, I did." "Why?" His answer was simple. "Because you're not alone here." The words hit harder than any chain ever had, and for the first time since Devil's Canyon, Riley felt something she barely recognized. Safety. Hargrove's dust had barely settled before the ranch felt different. Not broken, not afraid, but alert. Riley moved through her chores with sharper eyes that day. Every sound carried weight. Every shadow made her glance twice. She hated that feeling. Hated that one man's presence could drag her back into old fear. Clint noticed. He did not hover. He did not smother her with questions. But he stayed near. Close enough that she would see him if she looked. That night, the wind rose strong from the east. It rattled the barn doors and sent loose boards knocking against the house. Riley lay awake, staring at the ceiling. She knew men like Hargrove. They did not let pride go easily. Just past midnight, the horses began to stir. First a few uneasy snorts, then hooves striking wood. Riley shot up in bed. Something was wrong. She rushed outside barefoot, not waiting to pull on boots. The yard was dark except for faint lantern light near the barn. Too faint. Smoke curled into the sky. "Clint!" she shouted. He was already running from the porch, rifle in hand. The south end of the barn was burning. Flames licked up the dry wood, feeding fast, while horses screamed inside. Riley did not hesitate. She sprinted toward the door. "Riley, wait!" Clint called. But she was already there, yanking the heavy door open. Heat blasted her face. Smoke filled her lungs. Two horses kicked wildly in their stalls. Fear had them trapped. She moved fast, hands steady despite the chaos. She cut one rope, then another. She slapped their flanks hard, driving them toward the open yard. Clint joined her, pulling another animal free. Tom and Jesse ran in with buckets of water. Then Riley froze. The stubborn colt, the one she had gentled,